Your trivia today.
Did you hear my
Yeah, I did. Well, that's me. I know. I want to see if Bill Bennett did the same thing. Okay, are we on, Ruth? Hi, everybody. Yep. So, I think we'll just
skip over.
We'll just. Okay. Well, you already know the answer. So March 23rd, 1775, with hostilities between Americans and British troops breaking out in New England, Patrick Henry stood in a packed St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia, and made a fiery argument to the Second Virginia Convention that the time had come for the colonies to gather their strength and commit themselves to action. His ringing words still remind us that freedom must be defended. Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemies shall have bound us hand and foot? The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir, let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the cost of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. So, what's that?
I'm the only one with my hand up, so.
Yeah, I wasn't giving a question today because you all should know from this morning.
I was the first one with my hand up.
Yeah, I don't have any candy today. So, give me candy or give me death. All right, yeah, go ahead, Barry. Who? All right, yep.
I have a feeling you got that one.
I've given that speech a few times.
What did you do about the candy?
You guys ate it. That's what happened. All right, not last week. So also on this day, 1806, Lewis and Clark expedition departs the Pacific coast and begins its return journey east. Oh, that makes me feel happy. Because Lewis and Clark are very much part of my background. Am I related to them? No, but I've been to where they wintered for a year, or on their expedition out west. They ate dog because they were sick of fish. They were next to one of the biggest fisheries at the time. They could have had as much fish as they wanted, but they were so sick of fish they ate dog instead. Anyway, all right.
Cannibalism.
I don't think though. 1857, Elisha Otis installs the world's first modern passenger elevator in New York City. I wonder if it took him as long as ours. 1965, America's first two-man space flight begins as Gemini 3 lifts off from Cape Canaveral with astronauts Gus Grissom and John Young aboard. That's for Ruth. One of the first two men. First two-man. So two-man. So two people went up at the same time. The first two-man, so meaning the first time that two guys went up into space at the same time. Right. Okay. So I had just one little thing to share as you go off into the rest of the school year. If you've never read this book, I would recommend it to you, or if you read any book about William Borden. Has anybody ever heard of William Borden? Probably not, or Borden of Yale. Anyway, he was the son of a very wealthy family in New England. He attended Yale, but he had a burning desire to be a missionary and to serve the Lord on the mission field. So he ended up devoting a lot of time and resources and preparation to go to the mission field, but he was actually only on the mission field for a very little amount of time before he died, I think, of a brain tumor at about 25 years old. So his life is very brief, but it was very full. And one of the things that he heard, or something that he heard, and I can't remember exactly the story, but he's pretty young when he heard and wrote this down jotted that phrase down. That became his life motto. No reserves, no retreat, no regret. So, what did he mean by that? Basically, when God asks you to do something, don't hold back. When God has put something on your heart to do, don't back down just because it gets difficult or hard. And when God asks you to do something, don't tell him no. So you're all pretty young. I'm still pretty young. And you don't know how long you have, and I don't mean to be morbid, but this is why William Borden, this meant so much to him, because this guided his decision. So when you're looking at a decision and you're looking at what you're supposed to do, or you feel like God is asking you to do something, don't just leave it out there. Don't let it be something that you think about it later and say, man, I wish I had done that. I wish I had said that. I wish I had given that. I wish that I would have given that person that hug, or said something, or whatever. There's a really good song by a guy named, I'm losing his last name right now, Robin, oh man, anyway, he's in Northern Ireland, but it's a great song about this guy being in Central Station in London, which is a train station, subway station. And he tells a story about how he sees an old acquaintance of his from school. And it's obvious that this guy's kind of down on his luck. He's panhandling, he's looking for whatever. And in the story of the song, the author of the song is talking about how he felt like God wanted him to go and talk to his old friend and to minister to him. But he doesn't. And so the song is being written from a point of regret, wishing that he hadn't been so embarrassed, that he hadn't hesitated to go and connect with his old friend. Now, the song is neat because it also doesn't end in condemnation. It's a song where he's talking to the Lord saying, I know that you'll give me the grace to do that again. The next time, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to do it. So, I don't know what is going on in all of your lives, but it's never, ever too early to have these kind of resolves. When God asks you to do something, don't hold back. When God wants you to do something, don't just bail out because it gets difficult. And when God asks you to do something, don't say no and regret it later. Okay? All right, Mr. President, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, so the last time we had a meeting, we decided on the yard sale for Expo, and then also the ice cream sale for Expo. Have you figured out what type of, like, where you're going to buy the ice cream and stuff like that, and all the expenses? Okay. Have you figured out the total
You
expense?
could try dollar store because dollar store is charging less.
Dollar store is rats. You guys hear about that? You hear about that?
Mm-mm.
They had a huge recall of dollar store stuff because there was like a rat outbreak or something. Sorry.
You're good.
I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's better than stores around here.
Okay. And then also, has everyone been able to gather stuff for the yard sale? 'Cause you've been doing that and pricing it, stuff like that. Have any of you received the one list? Where remember we made the list of all the prices from the secretary. The list of all the prices.
The secretary wrote down the secretary's on here.
Have any of you received the email with that information? No. Okay.
Secretary is on.
Yeah. So if Ken, if you're watching, could you send that email as soon as possible? And then really the only thing we have to decide about the yard sale is exactly what time we're gonna have it, because a lot of people are not gonna, we're not all gonna be arriving at the same time. And there's also other events happening. So that's basically really all we have to decide. And then also we have to decide where we're gonna have it, if it's gonna be in here or in the basement. Yeah.
When's next one?
May 7th. So what we don't write up the signs just yet because we need the time when it's happening. So
Probably can have it going on the whole day.
the whole day.
Really any reason why you couldn't. Well, I mean, if you wanted it to have some sale people.
Obviously, I would be one of those people because
And who's making signs?
he's making the signs, but huh? Okay, then you can do it, Mr. Vice President. Okay. So, oh yeah. So, does anybody want to volunteer to help do that while everything's going on, or like break it up in shifts? Like I'll do it. Anybody want to help do the? Because we need the cashier. We need a person. Like some people are gonna say.
The treasurer should take care of it.
Yeah, obviously that, and then people are gonna say, how much is this? Some people might want to bargain. People do that at yard sales.
Yeah, and if you're gonna bargain, then give them a price higher than what's selling for, and then they might want to do a little bit less.
Well, we had intended to put the prices on the, or because it's like a, but some people might want to go lower than that.
Then don't go at $1.5.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything that somebody has thought of about the yard sale that I haven't mentioned? No?
Just really getting it set up. When we get it.
Yeah.
Has anybody
What are we gonna put stuff on?
been designated
Well-
or volunteered or is doing a flyer?
Yeah, 80 was doing the flyer, but we need the time. So, since we're probably gonna just do it all through the time, would it probably just make sense to just start it when the expo starts? Or like an hour after the expo starts?
How,
We need to make sure that
Half
everybody.
an hour.
When did you guys decide about setup?
We haven't decided that because it was either going to be in here or in the basement, and then we thought about having it outside, but we don't know the weather situation yet.
Well, like, but as far as like the day that you're going to set up, did you decide you're going to do it the morning of? Or
Yeah,
are you gonna
I
have
think
to-
the morning of would be best because I'm not sure if many people could make it the day before, unless people who live close. We can't because we live all the way in Baltimore and back and
Okay,
forth.
well, that would probably go into when you decide to have your time. I mean, you could decide to open it up like at noon.
When does that still start?
That's supposed to start like at 10:30.
I think noon would be good because then we would have enough time to set up,
Yeah.
and people would be able to get here with the things that they brought. By that time, most people should be here.
Now, where should we have it?
So,
Well, really you have to decide that exactly today. Because some of that depends on, I mean, probably most of your activity is going to be over there and down there. So if it ends up being a nice day, probably being outside is a good thing. You'll be around more people. But
You said it was really, you could in here.
yeah, you can do it in here or maybe even in the school basement.
I think we should do it in the school basement, and clean, and then I do a basement stuff.
Go outside.
What do we do with this stuff in console?
Well, remember, you have to take it back. Well, you have the stuff you brought. You have to take, and then you have to either keep it or give it away to like a Goodwill or secondhand store.
It doesn't stay here.
Have a big bonfire.
Well, you can give it to Goodwill.
They're not gonna be
Well, they could burn it,
That's a good ration. If I ain't getting any of it, neither can you.
I think that would be a little
So,
chemical
anyway,
hazardous.
I think that's probably your best idea is
Having it at noon.
plan to have it outside,
Okay.
and then if you can't do it outside, you can do it in the school basement. So,
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we could just
So
plug in.
the main thing about the school basement is that will need some preparation. So we might have to plan one other prep day to make that happen.
Okay. So, all in favor of having it at noon, say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Okay. Sorry for the people that couldn't say aye. Majority rules. Okay. So we have the time now, and then so we're agreed that if it's a nice day, we'll have it outside. But if it's not so nice a day,
Where outside we could do it?
good point.
No.
That's-
Yeah, we're gonna-
One minute. Are there tables that we can use that are here
Yeah. Yep.
for outside?
Yeah. We have actually some of the old tables that are downstairs that you can use. And I would say you probably should just set it up, like maybe right in front of the building there.
Okay. All right. So we're all agreed that if it's a nice day, have it outside, and then if it's not so nice a day, have it in the basement. Wait a minute. When you're saying basement, you're talking about this basement, or
Basement right here.
okay,
Under us.
Yeah, you can't have the church basement because of that code there.
okay.
That's where all.
So we're all agreed. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Unanimous.
I am not a member of this council. I am in charge of the council. Kind of like the king is in charge of parliament.
Okay. So we have that. So don't. Okay. So now you know what time we're having it. So put when you have it, make sure that it says it's a yard sale, but also make sure that they know it's a fundraiser for the school.
Fundraiser, yard sale at such a time.
Yeah, it's at
They have an
noon.
arrow.
Pointing where it is. Yeah. And then there should probably be at least
A big sign that says you're
two.
here.
There should be at least two in front of the church for both directions, and
Get to
then
the place where you turn, you say, you put up a big sign that says, here it is.
They say turn left or turn right.
and then there should also probably be one a little further up this way and a little further up that way, so people can anticipate it.
Yeah, you just don't want to put it on, like.
Right at the curb,
under
tiny
Yeah.
little
that
note
thing, you know?
Right here.
You might use how many signs do you find in the
At least 4, 2 here and then one up there and then one up there. But whatever property you put it on, you have to have permission, obviously. So
You might even try to put one down at the interchange there, at the exit, there's a Phillipsville.
yeah,
Where Phil
Well,
won't
the
be
yard sale, I mean,
documented.
he doesn't have that, it's not a good.
I mean,
Most yard sales have it within so many people placed on the streets and like poles and stuff.
Yeah.
If it's in someone's property,
Don't put it on somebody's driveway.
and then, so you know what time, so you can do that as soon as possible since the time's already set. And make sure they know, since you're gonna be putting it up before, put it, May 7th, and then, you know, all the usual stuff that you put on. So I think, Mhm. And then I'm pretty sure Adia is doing the flyers. So if you're watching, you can also write up the flyers. And I think that's it. So if anybody can think of anything else that needs to be discussed about it. No? So I guess meeting adjourned. Pretty sure that's all it.
Adjourned.
All right.
Adjourned. Let me see if we got any comments. Ken is protesting.
Oh yeah. And if Ken, if you are watching, can you please send those emails